The Renaissance period began in 14th to 17th century in Florence, Italy. The Catholic Church during the Renaissance period is one of the most powerful and wealthiest institutions in Europe, especially in Italy. This period also produced many of the most recognizable artworks in the Catholic traditions. The Classicism, Humanism, Individualism, and Realism are the characteristics of the Renaissance. The classical art of Greece and Rome are the styles and techniques that were used by the artists of the Renaissance. The poses and composition made by the Greek, ancient, and Roman were replicated by the Renaissance artists. An example is the contrapposto of the Greek statues. This means counterpose in English. Humanism is a philosophy that believes true human potential is true knowledge. This means that understanding is achieved through science and logics. Renaissance men strived for self-betterment that resulted in developing sufficiency and skill in fields and disciplines. Renaissance artists apply science and math in their arts. They studied human anatomy to achieve artwork that follows correct proportions. The concept of the importance of the individualism was emerged during the Renaissance period. This period gave significance to the individual personality, uniqueness, and genius. In visual art, these characteristics were reflected on different fields of art. The Renaissance artists sought to create artworks that were realistic. This need for realism helped the Italian artists to develop line perspective. Linear perspective gives an illusion of depth on an artwork. Linear perspective is composed of horizontal lines, vanishing points, and converging lines. Renaissance artists developed 4 different painting modes in the Renaissance period. There were sfumato, union, chiaroscuro, and cangiante. Sfumato means soft or blurred. This painting mode blurs the edge of the outlines. It gives an appearance of a hazy layer on the work. Leonardo Da Vinci used this technique on the Mona Lisa. He blurred the edge and eliminated the strong outline. Union uses of colors without the severe line. This technique uses gradient changes between the color and the light. It blends on the edge but retains the overall brilliance of the color. Raphael used this technique on his work of Saint Catherine of Alexandria. Chiaroscuro means light and dark. This mode uses strong contrast between light and dark. The strong contrast creates shadows and lights. Leonardo da Vinci used this technique in his work Virgin of the Rocks. Cangiante means to change. This technique renders the shadows by replacing the color. This technique was used by Angelo in some panel of the Sistine Chapel. Frescoes and tempera are the other canvas that were used by the artists of the Renaissance period. Popular subjects of the artworks for the Northern Renaissance were the religious scenes, domestics, and everyday life. Northern Renaissance art is characterized by detailed realism. Artists includes even smallest detail of their works. Paintings of Northern Renaissance were made with oil paints applied on woods. The artists of the Renaissance are multi-talented. They are masters in different disciplines and media of art, such as painting, sculpting, or even architectural designs. Donato di Niccolò di Beto Bardi, or known as Donatello, is a pioneer in the Renaissance style. He was born in 1386 and died in December of 1466. He was a sculptor that applied perspective in his works. He sculpted his statues to be wide and longer on top to remove the optical illusion. David is one of the masterpieces of Donatello. David is shown wearing only boots and shepherd's hat. It was the first freestanding nude sculpture to be done in 1,000 years in medieval era. Michelangelo di Ludovico Buonarroti Simoni, or known as Michelangelo, is one of the most well-known Italian Renaissance artists. He was born on 1475 and died in 1564. He was a poet, painter, sculptor, and architect. He created a lot of masterpieces for the Catholic Church. The Pieta is one of the most Michelangelo famous sculpture. Pieta means pity. It was a sculpture of Mother Mary cradling the body of Jesus after it brought down around the cross. Michelangelo's painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel is composed in 9 different parts. Each section tells a different Bible stories. The most popular is the creation of the man, where God gives life to Adam with a touch. Leonardo Da Vinci is one of the most popular Renaissance Italian artists. He was born on 1542 and died in 1519. He was an artist and a scientist. He filled up 120 notebooks with his ideas. The Last Supper is the popular Christian subject among artists. Da Vinci took different approach in his own version of Last Supper. Using his own perspective, he made the scene to be part of the monastery. Mona Lisa was also made by Leonardo da Vinci. He worked on this painting for 16 years but said to be still unfinished. Raffaello Sanzio, or known as Raphael, was born on 1483 and died in 1520. He was able to bring movements and dynamics to his works. A famous work of Raphael is the School of Athens. At a closer look, you can actually spot a self-portrait of Raphael himself. Linear perspective is applied on his work. Jan van Eyck is one of the most important Northern Renaissance artists. He was born in 1390 and died on 1441. He worked on wide array subjects. Van Eyck mastered the medium of oil painting. The Arnolfini wedding is one of the most famous artwork of Van Eyck's. It is exhibited in the National Gallery in London. It is believed that the portrait is made as a record of marriage contract, making it quite unique. Sophonis Baangisola is a woman artist that gained some acceptance during the Renaissance period. Born on 1532 and died on 1625. She painted portraits and religious subjects. The chess game is one of her famous portraits. It features her 3 sisters playing a game of chess. The painting is currently displayed in the National Museum.